The air burned in his lungs. Every breath tasted like poison. Ethan stumbled through the thick green mist, his boots sinking deep into black mud. His ship had gone down an hour ago, torn apart by enemy fire. Now, the swamp wanted to finish what? The missiles had started. His visor flickered. The oxygen level was dropping. Sweat rolled down his face as the heat pressed against him like a heavy blanket. The water around his legs hissed and bubbled, releasing a smell like rotting flesh. He looked around trees twisted like bones, and vines as thick as his arm curled around dead trunks. Everything in this place wanted to kill him. Keep moving, he told himself. Standing still meant death. The swamp was alive, and it was hungry. His communicator was dead. No rescue, no backup. He was alone. He pushed forward, one step, then another. The mud tried to pull him down like a living thing. His boots felt heavier with each move. Then he froze. A sound. It was faint, almost drowned by the hiss of the swamp. At first, he thought it was the wind. But then it came again, a voice. Weak. Fragile. Help, Ethan turned, scanning the fog. His pulse quickened. Nobody should be here. This planet was a war zone, crawling with killers and monsters. If someone was calling for help, it was either a trap or a miracle. Help. Please. The voice cracked, like someone on the edge of death. Ethan hesitated. The smart thing would be to walk away. He was injured, low on air, and every minute in this swamp brought him closer to dying. But the sound of that voice soft, desperate pulled at something deep inside him. He moved toward it. The mist grew thicker. Shadows danced in the green glow. His boots splashed through black water as he followed the faint cries. Then he saw her dotted first. He thought it was a body. A figure half submerged in the mud, tangled in glowing vines. Her skin shimmered faintly, almost silver under the toxic mist. She was tall, slender, with long hair plastered to her face. Her chest moved weakly. She was alive. Ethan's breath caught. She wasn't human. Alien, beautiful, even in this hell. Her skin glowed softly, like moonlight in a storm. Strange markings curled along her arms, and her eyes half open glowed a pale blue that seemed almost unreal. She whispered again, her voice shaking. Help me. Ethan's heart pounded. Everything screamed at him to leave. Helping her meant sinking deeper, maybe dying with her. But he couldn't walk away. He dropped to his knees in the mud, the toxic water biting at his gloves. Hold on, he said, though he knew she didn't understand his language. Her head tilted slightly. A weak sound escaped her lips. Why? Would you? He didn't answer. He grabbed the vines, pulling hard. They were strong, like metal cables, and burned his hands through the gloves. The swamp fought back, pulling her deeper. She gasped, water choking her as the mire closed around her shoulders. No, no, no. Ethan gritted his teeth and pulled harder. His muscles screamed. His boots sank deeper, almost to his knees. The swamp hissed, bubbles breaking the surface like angry eyes. Finally, the vines snapped. Ethan fell backward, dragging her free. Her body was cold, slick with green slime, but she was breathing. Barely. He lifted her, staggering under her weight. She was lighter than she looked, but the mud made every step a battle. Toxic mist curled around them as he pushed through the swamp, holding her close. Behind him, the water moved. Something huge shifted beneath the surface. A low, gurgling growl echoed through the fog. Ethan froze. His blood ran cold. Whatever lived in this swamp had noticed them. The water rippled, dark shapes moving below. He didn't wait to see more. With a burst of strength, he climbed onto a patch of dry ground, carrying the alien woman in his arms. She coughed weakly, her glowing eyes meeting his for the first time. There was something strange in that look, something sharp, like a secret locked behind glass. Her lips moved. He leaned closer, barely hearing her whisper, "You should not have saved me?" Before Ethan could ask why, the water exploded behind them. A massive shape rose from the swamp, black tendrils whipping through the air. Ethan ran. The swamp roared, vines snapping, mud flying as the thing chased them. His lungs burned, his legs screamed, but he didn't stop. He held her tight, her cold, breath against his neck as the toxic world tried to swallow them both. And in that moment, he had no idea. The life he just saved was the most dangerous life in the galaxy. The cave was dark, damp, and smelled like old blood. Ethan pressed, his back to the cold stone, his pulse racing. Outside, the swamp hissed like a living monster, and distant roars shook the ground. Whatever chased them was still out there. He looked at the alien woman lying on the cave floor. She was breathing, but just barely. Her silver skin shimmered faintly in the dim light, like moonlight trapped under water. Those glowing blue eyes were closed now, hiding whatever secrets they carried. "Stay alive?" Ethan muttered, tearing off part of his sleeve to wipe the green slime from her face. "You didn't survive that swamp just to die here." Her skin was warm now, almost burning. Fever? Or was this normal for her kind? He didn't know. He didn't know anything about her. For all he knew, she could be dangerous. But then he remembered that voice, that soft, desperate whisper, "Help me." And he couldn't leave her. A deep rumble rolled through the cave. Ethan froze. Shadows shifted near the entrance. Something was crawling closer, slow, heavy, patient. He grabbed his pulse pistol, checking the charge. 2 shots left. That was all. He crouched low, aiming at the darkness. His breath slowed, his heart hammered like a drum. Then, movement behind him. He spun fast, weapon raised, and froze. The alien woman was standing like she had never been weak at all. Her glowing eyes were open now, blazing like twin stars. Her wounds? Gone. Smooth silver skin, unmarked by the swamp's bite. And the way she moved, graceful, silent, deadly. Like a predator, Ethan's grip on the gun tightened. "How? You couldn't even breathe a minute ago." She tilted her head, those strange blue eyes locking on him. No fear, no weakness, only power. Slowly, she stepped closer. Her voice was low, calm, almost cold. "You saved me." She paused, her gaze sharp as a blade. "You should not have done that." Ethan swallowed hard. "You're welcome?" Her lips curved not a smile. "Something darker. Now they will hunt you too." Before he could ask who they were, a roar split the air. The cave entrance exploded as black vines lashed through, slamming against stone. A massive shape filled the opening, a swamp beast, its body a mass of writhing tendrils and snapping jaws. Fired. 1 shot, 2. The beast screamed, its hide thick as steel. The gun clicked empty. "Great," he muttered, backing up. "Any ideas?" The alien woman didn't answer. She moved. Fast. 1 second she stood still. The next, she was a blur, leaping high, twisting through the air like liquid silver. Her hands glowed with blue fire as she slammed into the beast. The roar shook the cave. Tendrils lashed, snapping stone pillars like twigs. She moved through them like smoke, her strikes precise, brutal, beautiful. Each hit burned the monster's flesh, cutting deep glowing scars. Ethan stared, stunned. She wasn't helpless. She wasn't fragile. She was a weapon. In less than a minute, the swamp beast collapsed in a smoking heap. The alien woman landed softly on the cave floor, breathing steady, her glowing eyes fixed on him. Ethan tried to speak, but words tangled in his throat. "What the hell are you?" She walked closer, silent, until she stood inches from him. For a moment, the blue glow of her eyes softened. "I am Kaylin," she said quietly. "And you are a fool." Ethan blinked. "A fool for saving your life?" Kellen's gaze hardened. "A fool because now your life belongs to the war." Before he could ask what she meant, the night outside lit up with burning ships. Engines roared in the distance. Voices echoed through the swamp, mechanical, cruel, searching. Kaylin turned toward the light. Her jaw tightened. Then she whispered, almost to herself, "They know I live. And now they will kill you for it." Ethan's stomach turned cold. He had just wanted to survive. Now it seemed survival was no longer an option. Not for him. Not for her. And deep down, he realized something terrifying. She wasn't just a survivor. She was something far more dangerous. Something the galaxy feared. Asterisk, the swamp burned red. Ethan stood at the cave entrance, watching fire spread across the distant horizon. Ships roared above the clouds, engines screaming like predators in the night. Shadows moved inside the fog, marching, closer with every second. "They're here," Kaylin said. Her voice was calm, too calm for what was coming. Her glowing blue eyes scanned the darkness like a hunter. She wasn't the weak creature he had dragged from the mire. She was something else now, something sharp, like a blade drawn in silence. "Who's here?" Ethan asked, gripping the empty pulse pistol. His throat was dry. His hands shook, though he tried to hide it. Kaylin didn't look at him. "The ones who want me dead, the ones who cannot let me live." Ethan felt a cold weight in his gut. "You mean the same ones who shot down my ship?" "Yes." Her head tilted slightly. "And now they will kill you too. Because you chose me?" Ethan opened his mouth to argue, but a sound cut through the night, the hum of engines, closer now. Then voices, mechanical and cruel, echoing through the swamp. "Scan the area. Find the traitor. Kill the human." Ethan froze. His pulse hammered. In his ears, They know about me?" Kaylin finally looked at him. "They always know." The glow of searchlights pierced the fog, slicing through trees and vines like white fire. Shadows of soldiers moved in the mist, armored, carrying rifles that hissed with power. They weren't just hunting. They were closing in. Ethan gritted his teeth. He hated running, but he knew standing still meant death. "We need to move." Kellen's lips curved, almost like a smile, but not warm. "Yes," she said softly. "We move." She grabbed his arm, not gently, but with strength that shocked him, and pulled him deeper into the cave. The tunnel narrowed, twisting like a serpent under the ground. The air grew hotter, filled with the hiss of underground rivers. "Where are we going?" Ethan asked, stumbling behind her. "To live," she said. The roar of engines faded for a moment, but then came the sound that froze Ethan's blood, a metallic click. He knew that sound. A rifle being armed. Behind them, he spun just as a soldier stepped from the shadows, armor gleaming silver, helmet glowing with crimson light. The rifle leveled at Ethan's chest. "Human detected," the voice said. "Terminate." Ethan had no weapon. No time. He saw the muzzle flash, and then Kaylin moved. Blue light exploded in the darkness as she struck. One blow shattered the rifle like glass. Another sent the soldier crashing into the stone wall, armor sparking. He didn't move again. Ethan stared. His heart thudded in shock. "You're not normal." Kellen's glowing eyes locked on him. "Normal is for the weak." Before Ethan could answer, a deafening boom shook the cave. The ceiling cracked. Dust rained down like ash. Outside, voices shouted. "Target confirmed. collapse the tunnels. Kalen grabbed his hand this time hard, pulling him forward. Run. They sprinted through the twisting passage, their footsteps echoing. Behind them, explosions ripped the cave apart. Fire rolled down the tunnel like a living wave, swallowing the darkness in orange fury. They burst out of the cave into the open swamp, smoke curling around them like black snakes. The night sky burned ships hung low, spitting fire into the ground. Hundreds of soldiers moved through the mist, their lights glowing red like demon eyes. Ethan's lungs burned. There's nowhere to go. We're surrounded. Kalen stopped, suddenly turning to face him. For a moment, her expression softened, just a flicker, but enough to make his chest tighten. There is one way, she said quietly. But you will not like it. Ethan swallowed hard. Do I have a choice? She didn't answer. Instead, she raised her hand, and the air around them shimmered like heat over fire. Ethan felt the ground tremble, felt something huge waking beneath his feet. He staggered back, eyes wide. What the hell are you doing? Kellen's voice was calm, steady, like a queen giving an order, calling the one thing that fears no. Army. The swamp roared. The water exploded upward as something massive rose from the depths. A creature of black tendrils and glowing eyes, bigger than any beast Ethan had seen before. The soldiers froze, their lights flickering in terror. Ethan's stomach turned cold. You've got to be kidding me. Kalen stepped forward, her blue glow burning brighter than ever. She turned to Ethan, her voice a whisper that chilled him to the bone. You wanted to survive? Then stay close to me. And then she leapt straight onto the monster's back, her body glowing like a living star as the beast roared loud enough to shake the heavens. Ethan stood frozen, heart pounding, watching the impossible. The woman he had saved in the swamp was no victim. No, she was something else. Something the galaxy feared. And for the first time, Ethan realized the truth. By saving her, he had just declared war. The world burned behind them. Ethan clung to the creature's slick hide as it surged through the swamp like a living storm. Kalen stood balanced on its back as if born for it, her silver skin glowing brighter with every heartbeat. Her long hair whipped in the toxic wind, blue fire pulsing. From her hands, as she commanded the beast forward, the swamp roared. The night sky was a sea of flames, enemy ships strafing the surface, dropping fire that turned trees to ash. Soldiers shouted in the distance, their red lights swallowed by mist. Ethan's mind spun. Nothing made sense. He had been a soldier, trained to face death without fear. But this was something else. Something that belonged in nightmares or myths. The creature dove under a curtain of vines, crashing into a hidden lagoon. Here, the swamp was quiet. For now, Ethan slid off the beast, landing hard on the mud. His chest heaved, lungs burning from smoke and fear. Kalen jumped down like a shadow, moving with inhuman grace. What the hell are you? Ethan's voice cracked. He didn't care. He needed answers. Now, Kalen turned slowly, her glowing eyes fixed on him, cold and calm. You already know the answer, she said softly. No, Ethan snapped. I know I dragged you out of a swamp thinking you were dying. I know you killed a monster like it was nothing. I know an entire army wants you dead, so tell me, what are you? Kalen walked closer, her steps silent on the wet earth. What am I? Her lips curved not a smile, but something sharper. I am the mistake they tried to erase. Ethan frowned. What does that mean? She looked past him, toward the burning horizon. Her voice was quiet now, almost like a confession. I was born in the heart of the Zereth Empire, forged to be their perfect weapon, stronger, faster, smarter than anything alive. Ethan felt the chill crawl up his spine. You're A soldier? Her gaze snapped back to him, and for the first time, he saw something raw in those glowing eyes. Not anger, not pride, something darker. No, she said, not a soldier, a commander, a queen of war. The words hit him like a punch. He stared, speechless, as Kaelin turned away, her silver skin catching the blue glow of the swamp. They used me to crush worlds, she said, her tone empty, hollow. I ended wars in a single night. I killed billions. Because they told me. Too, Ethan swallowed hard. The weight of her words pressed like iron on his chest. He wanted to look away, but couldn't. So why are they hunting you now? Kaelin's jaw tightened. Her fingers curled into fists, glowing faintly. Because I said no. Her voice was sharp now, edged with fire. I refuse to burn another world. I refuse to kill the innocent. For a moment, silence hung between them, heavy as stone. Then Ethan spoke, his voice low. So now they want you dead. Kaelin looked at him, really looked at him, with eyes like endless sky. They want me erased. Because if I live, the war changes. Ethan took a step closer. Changes how? Her lips parted, the faintest whisper escaping. Because I know. The one thing that can break them. Forever. Before Ethan could ask what that meant, a distant roar split the air. Searchlights pierced the mist, sweeping toward them. The enemy was closing in again. Kaelin's glow dimmed, her face hardening like steel. She turned to Ethan, her voice cold and sharp now. You should leave? Ethan laughed bitterly. Leave? You think I can just walk away now? You dragged me into this. No, Kaelin said, her eyes burning bright again. You dragged yourself in when you pulled me from the swamp. Ethan stepped closer, refusing to back down. Then we finished this together. Kaelin stared at him for a long, silent moment. Then, for the first time, her lips curved into something real. Not cruel, not cold. A smile. Small, sad, beautiful. You're a fool human, she whispered. But maybe. The kind of fool I need. Above them, the night erupted in fire as ships descended, their guns glowing like suns. Kaelin turned toward the storm, her voice rising like thunder. Then follow me. And pray your courage is worth the price. And in that moment, Ethan realized something terrifying. The war wasn't coming. The war was already here. And he was standing next to the one woman who could win it or destroy everything. Asterisk. The swamp was quiet. Too quiet. Ethan knew that silence wasn't peace. It was the sound of something waiting to strike. He followed Kaelin through a jagged canyon, the moonlight spilling like silver fire across the rocks. Toxic mist curled around their legs, glowing faintly in the dark. Kaelin moved. Ahead, her steps silent, every muscle coiled like a blade ready to cut. Ethan glanced back. No enemy lights. No engine hum. No sound except his own heartbeat thudding in his ears. Where are we going? He whispered .ka-ele and didn't turn. To an old place. One they think is dead. Dead places sound like trouble, Ethan muttered her. Voice was calm, but cold. It's the only place left where I can call my own. They slipped into the mouth of a cave, the stone walls etched with strange markings that shimmered faintly under Kaelin's glow. Ethan's eyes caught something on the floor-old armor, cracked and blackened by fire. Skulls that weren't human. This was a battlefield, Ethan said quietly. Kaelin's gaze lingered on the bones for a moment too long. No, she said softly. This was home. The weight in her voice made Ethan's chest tighten. He wanted to ask more, but a sound cut him off. Footsteps. Behind them. Fast. Heavy. Ethan spun, pulse hammering. Kaelin. She raised a hand, motioning for silence. Her eyes flared bright, scanning the shadows. Then a voice that slid like a knife through the dark. Kalen. From the shadows, a figure stepped forward, tall, armored in black plates that shimmered like oil. His helmet peeled back, revealing a face carved in stone-sharp features, silver scars glowing faintly. Ethan raised his gun, though it was useless now. "Friend of yours?" he muttered. Kalen's jaw tightened. "Once." The man smiled a cold, cruel twist. "You always did run too far, Kalen." Ethan's grip on the weapon tightened. "Who the hell is this?" Kalen's voice was flat, deadly. "The one who taught me how to kill," the man chuckled. "And the one who will end you now." Before Ethan could blink, the traitor moved. Faster than any human could see. His blade gleamed blue in the dark, humming with power. Ethan fired one shot, two, but the man twisted aside like smoke. The blade slashed toward Kalen. She blocked it with her forearm, sparks spraying like fire. The clash shook the cavern, stone cracking under the force. They moved like shadows, striking and vanishing, blades flashing in the gloom. Ethan stumbled back, heart pounding as the fight unfolded like a storm. Kalen was faster than anything he'd ever seen, but the traitor was her equal. Blow after blow rang out like thunder. Sparks lit the cave like lightning. Then Kalen faltered, just for a second, but it was enough. The blade cut deep across her side, silver blood spraying against the stone. She gasped, staggering back. Ethan's stomach turned to ice. "Kalen!" he shouted, rushing forward. The traitor's eyes glowed as he lunged for the kill, but Ethan threw himself in the way. The blade slammed into his chest. Pain exploded through him. The world tilted. He hit the ground hard, gasping as fire spread through his veins. He heard Kalen scream a sound that shook him more than the pain. Nitrogen monoxide. Blue light blazed like a sun as Kalen's power erupted. The air cracked like glass, the ground splitting under her feet. She struck the traitor with a force that shattered stone. His body slammed into the wall, armor sparking as he slid down, motionless. Kalen dropped to her knees beside Ethan, her hands glowing bright as she pressed them to his wound. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with something he never thought he'd see on her. Fear, double quotes. "Stay with me," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Do you hear me? Stay." Ethan tried to speak, but blood filled his throat. His vision blurred. "Kalen." "Don't talk," she snapped, but her hands trembled. "Don't you dare die, human. Not you." For the first time since he met her, Kalen looked fragile. Her breath came fast, her glow flickering as tears burned in her eyes. She bent close, her voice a whisper. "You saved me. Now I save you." Her glow flared like a star, flooding his body with heat. Ethan felt the pain vanish, felt something strange surge through his blood energy, alive and fierce. His eyes snapped open, breath rushing back. Kalen sagged forward, exhausted, her silver skin dim. Ethan caught her before she fell. "You're insane," he said weakly. She gave a small, broken laugh. "So are you, for staying." Outside, the night shook with the roar of enemy engines. Shadows gathered at the cave mouth, lights glowing red. Ethan tightened his grip on her, his jaw hard. "They're coming." Kalen lifted her head, her eyes blazing faint blue fire again. "Then let them." And in the flicker of her smile, Ethan saw something terrifying and beautiful. Not just a warrior, not just a weapon. A queen of war, ready to burn the galaxy for one foolish human who refused to let her die. Asterisk. The cave burned behind them. Ethan stumbled through the shattered rocks, half carrying Kalen as the firelight painted her silver skin in shades of gold and blood. Her wound had closed, but he saw the weakness in her steps, the tremor in her fingers. She had healed him with something far beyond human science, and it had cost her. Outside, the swamp was no longer silent. It was chaos. Enemy dropships tore through the clouds like black knives, their engines screaming. Flames rolled across the toxic water, painting the sky crimson. Armored soldiers swarmed through the mist, their red visors glowing like hungry eyes. Kaelin pulled free of his grip, standing tall even with her strength fading. Her blue glow pulsed faintly, like a dying star. "They will not stop," she said quietly. "Not until I am ash." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then we don't. Let them." Kaelin turned her head, those strange, endless eyes meeting his. For the first time, something unspoken passed between them, not as soldier and alien, not as savior and saved, but something raw, something that burned deeper than fear. "You're human," she said softly, almost like it mattered now more. "And ever. Fragile, finite. You should have left me in that swamp." Ethan stepped closer, his voice low and steady. "Too late for that." Kaelin stared at him for a long, silent moment. Then her lips curved, not a smile, not really. Something rarer, something almost like hope dot, and then the world erupted. Blaster fire ripped through the mist, scorching the ground where they stood. Ethan tackled Kaelin behind a fallen tree as the air filled with the scream of rifles. Sparks flew, mud exploded, the smell of burning metal and flesh thick in the air. "They found us," Ethan shouted, fumbling for the rifle he'd stolen from a dead soldier. "Move!" Kaelin didn't hesitate. She rose like a shadow, blue fire igniting in her hands. When she struck, the night shattered. The first wave of soldiers never had a chance. Kaelin moved like a storm-given flesh, blades of pure energy cutting through armor like paper. Each strike was fire and fury, her silver body twisting with impossible grace. Ethan fought at her side, rifle barking, picking off targets. As they swarmed from the fog, his heart pounded, blood singing in his ears. For the first time, he wasn't running. He was standing, fighting, bleeding for something bigger than survival dot, and then silence. Smoke curled over the battlefield. Bodies lay scattered like broken machines. The swamp hissed as fire ate the last of the mist. Kaelin stood in the center of it all, her chest rising slow, her glow dimming with every breath. She looked almost human in that moment, tired, worn, beautiful in a way that made Ethan's chest ache. He walked to her, dropping the empty rifle. "You good?" She gave. A soft laugh, hoarse, bitter, but real. "Good is not a word I remember." Ethan reached out without thinking, his fingers brushing her arm. Her skin was warm now, almost burning, alive with something that felt like lightning. She didn't pull away. "Then remember it," he said quietly. For a heartbeat, the war fell. Silent, the fire faded. There was only her Kaelin, the weapon who had burned worlds, looking at him like she was seeing something she didn't know existed. A sound broke it. Low, distant. Engines. Kaelin turned, her jaw tightening. "They're coming again. Bigger guns. Heavier ships." Ethan picked up a fresh rifle from the ground. "Then we make them regret it." Kaelin looked at him, really looked at him. Then she stepped closer, her voice a whisper that burned hotter than any fire. "If we survive this, human, the galaxy will never forget your name." Before Ethan could answer, the night split open with the roar of war. Dropships tore through the clouds, their shadows swallowing the swamp. Blinding lights speared down, and Kellen's blue fire burned. Brighter as she whispered, "Then let them come." And for the first time, Ethan realized something that shook him to the core. This wasn't just about survival anymore. This was about destiny. Theirs. Together. Asterisk, the sky burned like a second sun. Flames rolled over the swamp as enemy warships descended through clouds of black smoke. Their engines screamed like thunder, shaking the earth beneath Ethan's boots. Heat licked his face. His lungs burned with poison air. And still, he stood. At his side, Kaylin rose like a living star. Her wounds had sealed, her glow fierce again, but not steady. It flickered like a candle in a storm. He could see it in her eyes, the cost of what was coming. She knew. So did he. They've brought everything, Ethan said, his voice hard. Callan's. Lips curved, slow and sharp. Good. And we end it. Above them, the sky tore open as a colossal warship broke the clouds, its guns glowing white-hot. Around it swarmed a fleet of destroyers, engines screaming like beasts. Ethan gripped this rifle tight. You said you had a way to stop them. Tell me you weren't lying. Kaylin turned, her blue eyes burning brighter than the fires above. I never lie, human, but this way. She paused, and for the first time, her voice softened. It will cost everything. Before Ethan could answer, the ground shook. Dropships slammed into the earth, doors splitting open like jaws. Soldiers poured out, hundreds of them, armor black as midnight, weapons humming like vipers ready to strike. Ethan raised the rifle. Guess we make it count. Kaylin didn't speak. She stepped forward, her hands rising slowly. The air trembled. The water churned. And then the swamp exploded. Roots ripped from the ground like spears, striking soldiers and ships alike. Poison rivers surged upward, crushing metal like bone. The beast Ethan had seen before, larger now, wrapped in chains of blue fire, rose roaring from the depths. Callan's power burned like a storm. Blue lightning danced across her silver skin as she moved through the chaos like a goddess of war. Blades of pure energy spinning in her hands. Soldiers fell like shadows in her wake. Ethan fought beside her, his rifle barking until the barrel smoked. His body screamed for rest, but his heart drove him forward. He had no idea what tomorrow was, but he knew what mattered now. Her ka. Alen cut down the last soldier and turned toward the sky. The warship loomed above, guns aimed, charging for the kill. She raised her arms, blue light flooding from her body, the ground cracking as her power built like a rising sun. Kaylin! Ethan shouted, fear clawing his throat. He saw it, the cost in her glow. This was no strike. This was sacrifice. She looked back at him, her face soft now, almost human. This is the only way, she whispered. No. Ethan ran, grabbing her arm. You'll burn yourself out. Her hand cupped his face, gentle despite the storm raging around them. You pulled me from death when I had nothing left. You gave me a reason. Ethan's chest clenched, his voice cracked. Don't do this. Kaylin smiled, a real smile this time, small, beautiful. Then remember me. And then she turned away, her body blazing like a second sun. The air split with the sound of breaking worlds as Kaylin unleashed her full power. Blue fire tore into the sky, ripping through the warship, shattering steel like glass. One blast, and the entire fleet ignited, explosions blooming like crimson flowers in the dark. The shockwave shook the swamp, throwing Ethan to his knees. When the light faded, silence fell. The sky was clear. The ships were gone, burned to ash. The swamp hissed under the rain of fire, smoke curling into the night. And Kaylin was on her knees. Ethan stumbled to her, heart pounding. Her glow was gone, her skin pale, cold like moonlight. He dropped beside her, pulling her close. Kaylin, he whispered, his voice breaking. Stay with me. Her eyes fluttered open, dim, but still beautiful. She looked at him, and her lips curved faintly. You survived, she whispered. So did you, Ethan said fiercely. You're not leaving me now. A soft laugh escaped her. Foolish human. Her fingers brushed his cheek light as a breath. From swamp to destiny, her hand fell. Her eyes closed, Ethan froze, every muscle locked in pain. He held her tighter, his chest heaving as the night swallowed his voice. But then, a pulse, faint, gentle, against his arm. Ethan looked down. Her skin flickered with the softest blue glow, like a star reborn. Slow, fragile. A live dot his breath caught. Kaelin. He held her close as the first dawn broke over the swamp, its golden light spilling across the ruins of war. Above them, the sky was empty now, silent, free. Ethan lifted his head, jaw tight, eyes burning. He knew this wasn't over. The galaxy would come for her again, for both of them. But for now, he had her, and that was enough. He whispered into her hair, his voice low, steady, unbreakable. They'll never take you. Not while I breathe. And in the glow of that fragile light, Ethan understood the truth. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning, not the end. Asterisk.